Now, obviously, different organisms eat different things, and all of them need to get appropriate nutrients out of the food that they eat. So, if you're eating food, you have to get protein out of the food so that you can build muscle and keep surviving. You have to get carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are hugely important for energy. You have to get fat. Every single cell in your body, its cell membrane is made of fat. So you have to get carbohydrates and proteins and fats, and also vitamins and minerals from your food all the time. So you get those, and they're teeny tiny, these things, but you get those things out of the food that you eat. And different animals have different ways of basically getting the nutrients out of the food that they eat. And we can see this in kind of different groups of animals. So if we look at a herbivore's digestive system, for example, we'll see that if food goes into the herbivore's digestive system, straight into the stomach, and then it's got the huge small intestine here. It's also got quite a large intestine. It's also got something called a cecum here, which is a very big organ here. And it's got this huge digestive tract because it eats plants. Plants are really hard to digest. They've got something called cellulose in them. We actually can't get energy out of cellulose. Lots of animals can. A very big, large cecum, like this rabbit here, that enables it to digest cellulose. So that's kind of where the digestion of cellulose takes place. But if we compare a herbivore's digestion to a carnivore's digestion, we'll see that it's very different. So it's got quite a large stomach, and its small intestines are they're long, but and large intestines are way shorter than the herbivores. And basically that's because meat is easier to digest than plant matter. So the carnivore doesn't need to dedicate as much of its body mass to digesting its food because it's easier to digest. It also has this very, very small cecum here, so it doesn't need to digest plant matter, so it's not digesting really hard stuff. So because of that, it's got a very different digestive system. So we can look at the digestive system of different organisms, and it relates directly to the things that they eat. Another great example is two different types of herbivores. So we have basically hind gut fermenters and foregut fermenters. And this relates to when the digestion of cellulose happens. So cellulose is a molecule, and it's found in plant cell walls. And to get the most nutrients that you can from plants, you kind of need to be digesting that. Humans can't do it. Obviously, lots and lots of herbivores can. And there's different ways that herbivores do it. Your hind gut fermenters is an example here is a horse. So hind gut means that you digest the cellulose after the gut. So hind is kind of like after. So in a horse, food goes straight into the stomach here, and then it's onto the small intestine, huge large intestine, huge cecum here, so this organ which helps in the digestion of cellulose. But look how much of this horse's body is dedicated to digesting its food after it's gone into the stomach. So just a huge amount of its body. But if you've ever seen horse poo, you'll actually see it's still quite full of grass, because even though a huge amount of its body is dedicated to digesting food, it still isn't able to do a super job of it because plant matter it can just be so tricky to digest. But this is again a hind gut fermenter where the digestion or the fermentation, the breaking down of cellulose and plant matter happens after the stomach. Quick fact is that some herbivores actually consume their own poo to give it another go at digestion to get more nutrients out of it, which is disgusting. But hey, you got to do what you have to do to survive. Another herbivore, obviously, is a cow here. But this is a foregut fermenter. So again, the food goes down the esophagus. It actually goes into an organ called the rumen. And so these animals are called ruminants because of their rumen. So it goes down the esophagus into the rumen, and this is a digestion chamber where cellulose is digested. Sometimes these animals regurgitate the food from the rumen back up into the mouth, give it another chew to chew the cud, I suppose. Chew it again, sending it back down into this rumen, this kind of first chamber of digestion. And because they are foregut fermenters, so cows are foregut, and foregut means that the digestion of cellulose happens before the stomach. After that digestion has happened, then it goes into these other stomach chambers. So you can see there's quite a number of chambers in the cow's stomach, and this is where all the digestion happens. And then after it's gone through all these chambers, then it goes through this small intestine, large intestine, and then the cow poos it out. But if we look at these two different animals, so think quite similar on the farm, but the horse, because it's a hind gut fermenter, it's got this huge bulk of its digestive tract after the stomach, and the cow, being a foregut fermenter, again, it's got this huge digestive thing happening before the stomach. So it's really important for herbivores to get nutrients out of plants, which is hard to do. So they dedicate lots of their body to do it, and they do it in very different ways, either a foregut fermenter like a cow or a hindgut fermenter like a horse. Now, if we look at the human digestive system, again, we're omnivores, but the food goes down our esophagus, travels into our stomach. A lot of digestion happens here, so there's digestive enzymes and hydrochloric acid. Then it goes into our small intestines. So it's not quite as, certainly nowhere near as big as a horse's or anything like that. Our large intestines, and then we excrete it. This is our cecum, so very small organ there. So because we can't digest cellulose. But it's not a very, very short digestive tract like a pure carnivore would be. We've got a reasonably large digestive system, but again, we don't have any of that foregut or hindgut system in our body. We don't have a huge cecum to digest cellulose, but we've got a bit of a mixture, I suppose, of both to enable us to eat both plant matter and animal matter. So that's a little bit about the way different organisms obtain different nutrients, obtain the nutrients they need to survive. And we can see that they do it in really different, interesting ways.